We are streaming on all of our websites, audio-wise, and on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. You can see our smiling faces. Also want to mention our friends over at Fozzie Caleb Appliances in DeMott and in Rensselaer. Head over to Fozzie Caleb Appliances for you're looking for a new range. Maybe you're the ones that are cooking up Thanksgiving dinner. Get yourself all set. Whatever holiday you're doing the cooking for, I'm telling you, the appliances over at Fozzie Caleb Appliances are a great move. Also, don't forget, you could register to win a 5 cubic foot freezer from our friends over at Fozzie Cave Appliances in DeMott and in Rensselaer. So we are up on the video, by the way.
I know. I saw a hair out of place. I was fixing it.
Oh, not the one hair. My goodness. You know which hair of mine is out of place? These.
Yeah. I saw a weird hair. I was like, oh, I better fix that.
Christy got a wild hair in her face.
I did.
Yes, head over to Fozzie Cave Appliances and make sure you get yourself all set up with the appliances that you need for the holiday season. And like I said, get registered. I didn't even realize. So on Facebook, apparently, if I don't go in and because I deleted the description.
Okay.
But if I don't put a new one in, it keeps the old one there. So all of our videos are telling people get registered for 12 days of giveaways. I didn't know that, but fine. It's a link there.
Oh,
so go ahead and
all right.
sign up for 12 days of giveaways for a chance to win up to all kinds of great prizes. And on December 15th, we're giving away $1,000. So get yourself registered.
Yeah.
All kinds of cool stuff. Okay. Our poll question today. That's very nice. The Good Table Family Restaurant in Kentland just says, you guys are the best.
Aww.
You guys are the best. Thank you, Good Table in Kentland. All right. So our poll question up on all of our Facebook pages today, asking you as we head into the weekend, how do you like to spend your free time? Jessica says watching movies.
Mm-hmm.
Jenna says with my grandson or traveling. Usually every waking minute of my free time is usually with him. That's
Aww.
fantastic. Have fun. Enjoy it. Michael says, what free time? You must live with Chrissy. She doesn't allow free time. There's no time to be free.
We can schedule the free time and have it at free time times.
Yes, schedule your free time to be free. Hannah says with family, eating good food or reading a book. Tina says sitting in my recliner watching TV. I'm with you, Tina. Mm-hmm. I mean, not in your recliner. That's what I like to do.
If a recliner,
she's like, hey, aren't you the guy from the radio? What are you doing here in my house? Jared says, enjoying time with family, my fiance, good food, sports, and a couple of cold drinks. Very nice. Steve says reading. Mm-hmm. Jim says, yesterday I found a book called How to Solve 50% of Your Problems, so I bought 2 of them. Hello.
I'd like to borrow that.
Yes. You get why you bought 2, right?
Yes, because then it would solve 100%.
Math, I didn't know. Richie says, at Anytime Fitness or getting tattoos. That's a lot of tattoos and a lot of fitness.
Yeah.
Sherry says, refinishing furniture. Very nice.
Yeah.
Shane says, listening to Joyville. Well, thank you, Shane. I appreciate that.
Thanks.
You should have more free time than that, but thank you. Dawn says, spending time with my family, watching Christmas movies right now. Yes. Elf is coming to the big screen.
It is?
Again, for its 20th anniversary.
Oh, nice.
So I'm hoping it's coming to a theater around here.
Yeah.
So I haven't reached out to the Ritz or Fountainstone to see if they're bringing it in, but I'm hoping one of them is, because I would really love to go see it on the big screen.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a lot of fun. I would have a blast with that.
Yeah, we saw Christmas Vacation last year, and it was so, I don't know why, I've seen the movie a million times, but I laughed so much more in the theater. Like, I laughed to the point where I annoyed myself.
Oh.
like it's not that funny, but yes, it is.
Yes, but there's something about it being infectious when you're around a group of people.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Alicia says she spends her free time with her family. Kathy says depends on the day or time of day. Well, Kathy, just answer the question. Come on, woman.
I mean, is it free time? Then we can.
Right. What would you be doing any of those times? Deb says with family and friends. Joe says reading. Roxanne says with my kids and grandkids. And Mike says free time always costs me money. Well, then don't go spend any money. Just go and just hang.
Yeah, you can do things for no money for free time.
My free time doesn't cost me any money. I just hang in my house a lot of times.
I mean, technically it does, right? If it's like your TV and your electricity, like how deep do we want to go?
Sorry, what? Jay says, oh, it's not so fun when the shoe is on the other hat, is it? Yeah.
She was on the other hat.
Yeah, take that. Yes. Yes. Uh-huh.
I thought I was the one that couldn't get phrases
Yeah,
right.
I know. That's why I do that to you, just to see if you can really mess them up.
Oh.
I want to see if I say enough weird phrases that you start to use any of them.
I thought this is what Steve said. Is this not right? Come on.
Jay says, I run across the street every chance I can to go fishing. Well, good. I hope there's
Ooh.
water there. That would be weird if you're just in someone's yard.
Maybe they have a koi pond.
That's it. Maybe that'd be cool. Hey, that's not for fishing, Jay. Yeah. Ashley says listening to music and podcasts because he does a lot of that in her free time.
I do that too, yes.
And Jason says hunting and fishing. So there you go. Lots of great stuff. You guys can tell us what you do on your free time as well in the comments on this video if you would like while we're just hanging out. Came across this, and of course, being a dorky radio head that I am, when I see the headline that says, what was the best decade for radio? I got to jump in and see what they have to say.
Yeah.
Someone asked people to name the best decade for different things. Okay?
Yeah.
So, and you guys can share in the comments as well your thoughts on all these questions. They say the best decade for radio was basically a three-way tie between all those polled. The 70s, the 80s, and now.
Oh.
And I would tend to agree. Okay? But it depends on where you're looking.
Okay.
So there is still some independent radio, like us, that actually has two people having some fun in the morning, has local news, has local weather, does obituaries, plays high school sports, things like that. There are some like that, and I think that's fantastic. There are some that they just place in a cookie cutter and it's a big giant conglomerate and it just, it's all the same in 17 different towns, and that's not so good. Because when you look at the 70s and 80s, there was some really creative people doing radio. I mean, a lot of them I grew up with in Chicago and really like it formed what I do now. You and I do a show very similar to the shows that I listened to when I was growing up. There's a book that just came out, and I think we might have the guy on the show. So when I worked for John Rickards-Lander, I think I have to say it like that every time.
Heart.
Yeah, I think I have to say it like that every time. The producer of the show was a guy named Rick Kempfer, who was also the producer of Steve Dahl and Gary Meyer, a very famous radio duo in Chicago. He was their producer in their heyday.
Steve Dahl killed disco. Yeah,
so,
I remember.
Had to be done. Had to be put out of its misery. It was just flailing on the side of the road, So
it wasn't though. It wasn't. Disco could still be around today, but if not for Steve Dahl.
No, stop it
Come
now
on.
with your
Yeah,
shenanigans.
you could have like progressive disco, like have different types of disco. I could see it. Yeah.
No.
Country disco.
No. Also, by the way, have you seen the Disco Santa with John Travolta commercial yet?
No.
Oh.
Good stuff.
Oh, is it great?
I'll
Yes.
have to look it up.
Yeah, it's for a credit card. Yeah, it's fantastic.
I want Disco Santa in my house. I've been
Yes.
looking for a Christmas animatronic.
Oh. If they turn John Travolta into a Christmas animatronic, that would be the closest thing I have to a real Christmas decoration in my house.
Yeah.
Of course, I have my tree, and everybody loves it. But
Yeah.
yes.
Maybe I could make one. Like I could just buy a Santa and like retool him.
Maybe to look like John Travolta. Yes. Martha says, good morning. Good morning, Martha. Thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. So anyway, Rick Kempfer, this guy who's John Rickards-Landecker's producer.
Yeah.
He put out a book all about The Loop, which was a famous Chicago radio station. And over the years it was like WKRP on acid.
Oh.
It had some of the biggest names in radio. It started a genre of radio called FM talk, where it was like talk and a few things of music and things like that. And it's The Loop in its heyday is what got me into radio. I used to listen to Danny Bonaducci at night.
Yeah.
And would call into his show all the time, and then went to go see him, and he's the one who got me into radio. And he he did a really good show. It was like a show like you and I do,
Mm-hmm.
but it was at night. It was 7 to midnight all day long with shows like this.
Oh, okay.
It had, I think it was Jonathan Brandmeier in the morning. Well, Terry just jumped on and said, okay, this is a convoluted answer. I love the Loop days when it was Brandmeier in the morning. Yes, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Kevin Matthews in the midday was another famous talk show host in Chicago. Steve Dahl and Gary Meyer in the afternoons, and Danny Bonaducci in the evening. And I also loved when I spoke to you, Steve, just about every day with Mike, who was my old radio partner in Joliet and Kankakee. He
Okay.
says, you did afternoons, Mike did mornings, so I can't really give you a short answer. Well, thank you, Terry. I appreciate it. He used to call it every day. Terry
Yeah.
did. Terry used to call the show every day.
I think if you love the radio, for like you like lots of different, because I listen to lots of different talk shows and lots of different stations, and
Right.
you like it. You just like the format.
Yes,
But,
yes, and it's what I
Yeah.
loved doing. I mean, me and my friends would get together, and we'd turn on Danny Bonaducci at night
Uh-huh.
and sit out on my parents' deck.
Uh-huh.
And that's we would hang out at night, and then we'd get in discussions about what they were talking about. and
Oh,
yeah, and,
interesting.
and that's how I started calling into the show because we'd all be listening.
Yeah.
So I'd walk in the house and call, and I'd come out and they'd be like, we heard you on the radio. This is before I was working in radio.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it was really cool. I thought that was neat. So, Martha says, always it's a joy. Well, thank you. That's very sweet. So, now it also asks some of these other things about decades.
Okay.
The best decade for music.
Whew.
See,
every decade has its time, and it's I don't know. Oh, that is a hard one. That's impossible. Like,
I know, but what if you had to vote?
oh
'Cause this
my
is also a good
gosh.
poll question. We got like 7 poll questions here we could do.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I can't. It's too hard.
You got to pick one. You got to pick one.
You first.
80s.
80s?
I got to go 80s.
Okay.
I mean,
well, is it
might,
because that you
I might lean into the 90s a little bit, but
Okay.
for me, I'm saying favorite. Maybe not
Yeah.
best, but favorite for me has got to be.
a lot of things happened in the 80s, like, music wise, different things were changing, but a lot of things happened in the 60s because music wise, and then
Sure.
70s. I mean, every decade had its time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Hence the picking a thing. That's she's not so good
I
at
know.
making a decision.
I'm gonna say for it's 60s. Yeah.
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 All right.
Mhm,
All right.
mhm.
80s got the most votes, by the way.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
Best decade for movies. Ooh. Yes.
That I'm gonna go 80s. I think there were so many good movies in
That
the 80s.
also got the most votes.
Yeah.
Best decade for television shows.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
This is impossible.
I know. It's really hard. Yeah. I'm gonna say for me the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the 90s. There's a lot of shows that I mean, like for me, West Wing didn't start until 2005.
Oh,
Big
yeah.
Bang Theory didn't start until like 2005, 2006.
Yeah.
So those are some really good shows right there. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say 90s. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I feel like in the 90s was when I was really, and again, like pre-DVRs and stuff.
Yeah.
So there was appointment watching. Like, I made sure to watch Seinfeld. I
Yeah.
made sure to watch Cheers. I made sure to watch Friends.
Friends,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I would say probably 90s too. That's 90s is probably when like you said, I took I've got to watch that. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit down and watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Martha says I was going to say 80s as well, 80s and 90s, but I don't know which one she's talking about. Martha, you talking about movies, you talking about music, you're not talking about TV. Best books, I wouldn't even know. I wouldn't. This top vote getter was the 40s, by the way.
For
So,
books?
for
Oh,
books.
like probably like
Old time books. and- yeah.
books that make you like think about
Yeah.
existential things and all.
Sure. I like biographies. Those are my favorite. Yeah.
Me too. That's yep.
Yeah.
mhm.
By the way, best TV decade, the 2020s.
Oh, really? Okay.
So what we're in now, we're 3 years into that decade.
Okay.
So it's weird to me. I would not say right now is the best time of television.
No, it's a very weird time. It's
Yeah, yeah.
everything's all over the place and disjointed, and something's here and something's there and something's
Yeah. I mean, maybe people like it because there's so many options now.
options. Yeah,
But I mean,
there's too many options.
I mean,
for
even
me.
shows that I didn't watch. I mean, going back to the '90s, ER. I mean, so many shows were
Yeah.
so big.
Yeah.
then. Best time for fashion. I feel like that's so subjective,
Oh,
and because it goes in circles.
I said 1940s for fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah, 40s
Um,
and 50s. Mhm.
Again, the top vote getter was 2020s, followed by the 90s, which is funny because the 90s is what's back in fashion now. So you guys are liking
Right.
the same thing.
Yeah.
Martha says for TV, she says 80s and the 90s were best.
Oh, okay.
Best time for food? That's dumb. You can make any food anytime. I mean, that seems silly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that just seems silly. They also asked which decade you'd most want to live in.
Oh.
Ooh, this is a fun one for Chrissy.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go with. Oh, this is too hard. I want to say the 1950s, but there was a lot of bad stuff too, but also I love the kitschiness of it.
Right? Yep. Plus, you'd have to, wear your heels and your pearls all the time.
Yeah, but I wouldn't know any different.
Right.
It would just be that is what you do.
Right.
Couldn't
Yep.
I wear saddle shoes?
So
Wouldn't that be a thing?
I don't know.
Only the teeny
All I-
boppers got to wear saddle shoes.
I don't know. All I know is that we'd put you in your place. So,
yeah,
yes,
that's
yes.
what I love it'd be terrible.
Yeah. So the 2020s got the most vote, which again, not even a decade, but then they followed by the 80s, 70s, 90s, then 60s, then 1950 or earlier was ranked last. So Martha says, OMG, I'm going to say I would love to live in 1960. So there you go. Jason says either the 80s or 90s where people didn't get offended easily. So I suppose, listen, Jason, that all depends on who you're checking with, because I don't think people got offended too easily in the 50s either. But it doesn't mean they weren't offensive.
Right. See,
There
there are so many bad things with those decades, but
Right.
I like the ambiance,
Yes,
more,
yes.
but not the actual stuff that was going
Right,
on.
right. There were some things that should have been offensive back then. Yeah. All right, and I thought we'd wrap up at least this segment with some funny space news for you today, Chrissy Martin.
All right.
The European Space Agency did a simulation to see what a probe would look like falling into Uranus. I just wanted to read the headline. That's all I needed to do.
Oh my gosh.
I'm a child. That's really what it said. The European Space Agency did a simulation to see what a probe would look like falling into Uranus. Uranus was probed.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, that is me. I'm a child. I can't help myself.
You're a 12-year-old.
You know what decade was the best? When I was 15. That was the best decade.